Welcome everyone to another coffee tasting. Um, I'm your host, Aaron. This month we will be trying all the different holiday coffees. Today we are doing the holiday blend. The holiday blend is going to be, I would say, one of the lighter roast of the holiday coffees that you can get at a regular store. The lightest roast out of all the holiday coffees that Starbucks has to offer would be the Reserve Christmas. But you're not able to get the Reserve Christmas at all stores, just the Reserve stores and Reserve bars. But today we will be trying the Holiday Blend, which is going to be the lighter roast of the core holiday coffees. The Holiday Blend is going to be a mixture of the Sumatra and Latin American coffees. And so the Sumatra is going to be a Southeast Asia Pacific coffee, and it's with that coffee, it's going to bring out some of the darker notes, like mulled spices, and then some maple as well. And then with the bright Latin American coffee that we have mixed in with it, excuse me, we're going to get some of those brighter herbal notes, but primarily some nutty notes going to come out in the coffee too. So today we have prepped the coffee press and the classic traditional pour over. That way we can kind of explore the different flavors that we're going to get from different brew processes from the same blend of coffee. And so with the pour over, we're going to get less of the sediment in the coffee, and some of those oils are going to get trapped in the paper too. So that's going to cause for it to end up being a lighter roast cup of coffee. So let's go ahead and get this brew process started. So with the holiday coffees and specialty coffees, we typically use Sumatra or aged Sumatra in all of our specialty coffees. And the reason why is because Sumatra is just like um, a really good cup. Got that full body flavor. It's gonna impact the flavor a lot. With the earthy maple notes, it complements well with most other coffees. So it's a great, I would say, like a foundation for a coffee blend, and then you build on the Sumatra. And so with this one, we just have just two coffees in this one, and some of the other coffees that we'll be exploring this month. We'll have a blend of three different coffees, uh, um, spanning the three different regions of the world of Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. So we'll get to explore the notes that those different regions have to offer. So we'll get to do that. And so with the French press or the coffee press, I'm going to expect a lot more of those the mulled spice and maple notes to come forward, and the herbal brightness kind of takes like a back seat. But when with the pour over, I'm expecting to see a lot of that brightness come forward, and the mulled spice and darkness of the maple flavors take a back seat in the pour over. So based off of my brewing and coffee drinking experience, I'm going to say that I would probably prefer the holiday blend on a pour over versus a French press. Just because I like a smoother cup of coffee, and when you add Sumatra, a lot of those darker bitter notes come forward in a French press. And so I kind of like to stay away from the super intense darkness of those earthy bitters. Um, so I think I might like the pour over over the French press. But last week I thought the same thing, and I actually liked the French press more because on the pour over, it brought out too much of those herbal notes. So um, we'll find out. Maybe I'm more typical to the French press for these holiday coffees as well. So we'll find out right now. If you guys have any questions about the coffee that I'm trying right now, I've got the chat up right now, checking it out, seeing if you guys have any questions while we wait for this brew process to happen. What is going on? Not the most effective pour over, I must admit. It looks nice. That is for sure. All right, let's see. So yeah, with all the holiday coffee specialty coffees, they like to use Sumatra. And Sumatra, it has a really strong story, and especially when it comes to like Southeast Asian coffees. The island of Sumatra, it's a dangerous place to live in terms of wildlife and even fauna. Well, fauna and flora. So fauna would be the wildlife, and flora would be the plant life. And so in that part of the world, you got lots of poisonous things, lots of large bugs. It's very untamed, that part of the world, and so. Some of our small lot coffees from the Sumatra Island and the surrounding islands, there's a lot of cool stories in terms of Starbucks helping them make medical facilities, so that making sure that farmers working out in that part of the world are getting proper health care. Uh, and so it's really cool just to be a part of that growth and experience that we're helping other people around the world. So while we wait for the coffee press to finish steeping, we're going to go ahead and try our pour over. So this is going to be the pour over of the holiday blend coffee. And so this, I'm expecting to have some bright notes with some of that nutty maple nuttiness, and then a maple sweetness towards the end. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and sniff this coffee. So immediately, as soon as I bring my nose down to the cup of the coffee, I can immediately smell that nutty maple smell, and it's perfect for a Christmas coffee. It's very holiday-ish. Like the only thing you can do more right now is add like a dash of cinnamon, and then it'd be like the perfect like Christmas Thanksgiving cup. Oh yeah. So those bright notes are definitely there. It's got a strong herbaliness, almost kind of like an herbal wine, where it leaves your mouth dry. So this this particular coffee, especially on the pour over, would be really good with something savory, like anything that makes your mouth water. You don't want to pair it with anything that's also dry, because then you're just gonna leave your mouth too dry. So anything savory, salty, is going to be good to pair with this coffee. This one's really good. And then now that I've let my palate wash away, it's got that a really strong herbal mouthfeel, and like literally I feel like I just washed some wine over my tongue. Like it's dry. So I need like some cheese or some like something salty, something to make my mouth water, something savory. But it is a very good cup of coffee. Very balanced, especially on the pour over. It's really good. Some of those bitter notes, the nutty maple bitter notes come out like right at the very beginning. Like they kind of hit that back of the tongue right off the bat. Um, but then as you let it wash away, you're just left with that bright herbaliness on the sides, and then it leaves like a dry tongue feeling. So I'm gonna have to like bust out some mozzarella cheese here. Maybe grab like um, a string cheese. Pair this coffee with a string cheese. That'd be really good. All right. Now time for the French press. The French press I'm expecting to be much more darker. We're gonna taste a lot more of those mulled spice notes, and then a lot more of those that dark maple, the mapliness. It might be so intense on the maple flavor that it's actually gonna be more bitter than sweet. It's kind of like when you add too much of something, and then now you're just tasting just the earthiness or the floraliness of it, and you're not really getting any of that sweet flavor coming out anymore. So we'll go ahead and let's see. Coffee press on the holiday blend. Welcome to the live stream, you guys. Right now we're doing the holiday blend. I just tried the holiday blend on the pour over. Now I'm tasting the holiday blend on the French press. Going to compare how the flavors differ, and then what notes really come through on the different brew processes. So on the French press, I'm immediately smelling more of those bright notes right off the bat. I'm getting more of the bright Latin American with the herbaliness. It doesn't smell so nutty as the pour over does. So let's go ahead and taste it and see how it is. Wow, that's really smooth. It's much more different than the pour over, but yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's the initial sip is so balanced that you're not getting like a predominant side of the tongue. It's just a full even wash. But now that I'm letting my palate clear, I'm really left over with a lot of those like the center and towards the back of my tongue right now. I'm getting a lot of that bitter earthiness that's lingering on, and so that could be like those sediments that you get in the French press. It's kind of attaching itself to my tongue, and so as the coffee kind of clears itself off the palate, I still have some of those earthy bitters just hanging out. Yeah. So for this particular cup of coffee, I think I would if I'm gonna drink it black, I'm definitely gonna go over the pour over versus the French press. Just because the French press, you're getting that heavy Sumatra flavor. It's really earthy. Like I said, that the you have that maple flavor coming through, but it's like the earthiness of the Sumatra is so intense that maple flavor is not really sweet anymore. It's just that bitter maple. So we've got that bitter maple flavor with the earthiness, and then even as we let our palate wash, we're still left over with the bitterness. And it's definitely not as dry as the pour over. So if you're not going to pair it with anything, I would probably go with the French press just because the dry mouth feel that you get with the pour over um, can be a little bit uncomfortable if you don't have anything savory to help your mouth water. Um, because I mean, who likes a dry tongue? So you definitely want to pair it with something. String cheese is very easy to do. But Sumatra coffee. Normally, I don't typically drink Sumatra. Sumatra's a little too dark for me. But I really like the holiday blends because they're mixing it with other coffees. They're kind of, like I said, using Sumatra as a foundation to build specialty blends off of. And so you're getting that full body cup of coffee, and then you're able to build and expand upon it with like bright herbal notes or nutty caramely notes. And then you could even explore outside the boxes and go to regions that are doing processes that are not generally typical to the region. So if you get like a African coffee that's doing like a semi wash or a full body wash because they live in a more tropical region, so they don't have the option to do a sun dry process. Um, you're going to find a lot. The flavors are going to be much more different than your typical African coffee. So if you're able to expand on that with the Southeast Asian coffee, then you're able to kind of get some interesting flavors. And so I think it's next week we will be doing the holiday espresso. Actually, no, this Friday. This Friday we're going to be having a guest host. One of my coworkers, Mark. He's going to join us for a coffee tasting, and we're going to be trying the holiday espresso. And I believe the holiday espresso is H. Sumatra and Ethiopia. So that's going to be an interesting coffee because we're going to have like those really, really bright notes of an African coffee, and then those really dark, bitter notes like mulled spice and um, maple um, paired with that. So we're gonna be on two separate opposite ends of a spectrum, and we're gonna bring those together and see how it pans out. So join us Friday for the holiday espresso roast. If you guys have a Starbucks nearby, go in and order a grande pour over, but tell them you just want to prep the pour over at home, so don't have them brew it there. And then this Friday you can brew your espresso roast alongside me. I'll be doing it again on the pour over and the coffee press to explore the different flavor notes that we get. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna taste the different flavors, and it's gonna be interesting to taste how much the flavor changed from having a Sumatra Latin American coffee versus a Sumatra African coffee. So the flavors are gonna change vastly, and then because of the different brewing processes, we're gonna learn um, about the different flavors that we're going to get from those changes. If you enjoyed the coffee tasting and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to share this with anyone who you guys might think has a passion for coffee or even just might find this interesting, period. So join me this Friday morning where we are going to taste the Christmas espresso blend. And then we are going to be doing that on a pour over and a French press. And then if you have a Starbucks nearby, don't forget to stop by and grab some grinds so you can brew alongside me and explore these tasting notes with me. Thank you guys for joining. I will see you this Friday. Have a great day and Merry Christmas.